So I'm just outside of Zion here, and I decided to shoot the drone up and see if I can get some footage just outside the park boundary. I can only get so high with the drone here, and I see a bit of a storm cloud in the distance, so I try to take a hyperlapse of it, but something happened with my drone, and my hyperlapse only ended up being 2 seconds, so don't blink or you'll miss it. Unfortunately, I got a late start to my day today, so it's kind of raining once again, and I'm up here on the second half of Zion at the Kolob Canyons, and I was going to do a couple hikes, and maybe I still can if I wait it out. So I didn't actually get to do any hikes today. Just before I was heading out for the night, I came across this really cool rainbow that just sort of stretches across the whole valley. So I just pulled over on the side of the road and got some interesting shots here. This is all shot in real time, and I think the rainbow stretching over the valley just looks surreal, like it's from a movie or something. So today was a bit of a waste of a day. I didn't really get a hike in. I just sort of drove around Zion for a bit, but I needed to get things done. Like finally finished my laundry today, cleaned up, and did some grocery shopping for the next week. I also applied for a couple permits, and I got the permit for Angel's Landing in Zion. So tomorrow in Zion, I'm going to do Angel's Landing, the Emerald Pools, and I'll still see if I'm going to rent a bike or not. We'll see tomorrow. I also applied for the Wave, which is like a hike that goes into Arizona. It's this really cool rock formation, but I didn't get their lottery, and I'm not going to apply again because it was like $9 to apply. And I read online of a guy who applied 14 times before he got it. And, I'm all for hiking and all, but I'm not going to spend $100 just trying to get permits to do one hike. There's so many other hikes I can do. So I'll finish Zion tomorrow, then head south and see what I can get up to. Alright, so I'm in Zion now. I'm hiking to the Emerald Pools. I think there's 2 or 3 of them that I'm going to see, maybe other pools along the way. And then from there, I'm going to connect up to Angel's Landing. And that's like a really cool lookout. So far, this whole thing is just paved. I wouldn't really call this a hike. It's more of a walk. I guess it is a nice walk. Water here, dripping off the rock. Probably be a big waterfall when it's raining.
Yeah, you can kind of feel it right here.
This is the Upper Emerald Pool. Oh, a rope hanging from here. Honestly, those emerald pools were quite disappointing. Couldn't even swim in them, and they didn't even look that great, you know, compared to the Lower Calf Creek Falls I did the other day, which didn't even need a permit. All right, and that is Angel's Landing there. So that's where I'm hiking. And I just did a permit check with the ranger back there. She said there's a cloud coming in, you can see it. Hopefully it doesn't rain. She said it was 4.5 hours. But then I asked her how many miles it was and she said 5.5. I'm like, okay, there's no way that that's gonna take me 4.5 hours. I'm guessing more like 2.5. This is the way up to Arch's Landing now. A little sketchy because of the sand by everyone, but otherwise there's a fancy chain and good footholds.
I know the condor's got the white on their shoulders. I can't see.
It's, yeah.
Yeah?
It looks hard. They also got the red face.
Oh, yeah.
They're condors.
Turkey vultures. They even had hoppers. Showing white? Yeah, the coolest. Or well, my toes here. Benny, you did the hardest part. Cleaning up was a lot harder than going through.
Check this out. Looks like the remains of a tarantula. Maybe one of those condors got it. Storms all around. I better get down from here. Oh, made it down just before the rain hit. Total time looks like 40 minutes to come down, an hour and 5 minutes to go up. So, an hour and 45 minutes to do the whole thing. That's way quicker than the 4.5 hours that the ranger said it would take. But I guess they base their times on just like the average Joe. The average Joe doesn't hike all the time and needs to take 100 breaks. But I definitely recommend that hike to anybody because it was probably the best hike, I guess, in Zion for seeing views and everything. And it was pretty cool to go up on like the chains and everything. You do need a permit for the hike. I did put my name in for the lottery for the day before and I got a ticket. It was $3. I don't know how many times you'll have to actually enter that, but it's definitely looking like you have better odds of hiking this than you do hiking the wave. So there was still more up the Zion Canyon that I wanted to see, but of course it's just another day of thunderstorms afternoon. So I figure I'll just keep heading south, and then on my way back up, hopefully I'll get lucky with the day with no rain, and then I can rent a bike and go check out the Narrows at the end of Zion and ride my bike through the park and see anything else that I didn't really get to see today. But I got the main hikes over with today, so I'm happy about that. And once again, it is raining on my way out, so we'll see if I can get some more footage of going through this tunnel the other way, but again in the rain. There seems to be a lot more rockfall this time around. I just had to pull over here and check out these waterfalls. Just managed to find a little bit of a break in the weather here just outside of Zion, and I'm going to check out sand caves. Just some caves with a bunch of sand in them that looked pretty cool in a photograph I saw. They're just right off the side of the highway, so it's about a mile hike to these things. There's a big desert beetle here. I decided to test out my drone's tracking feature through the foliage here, and it did an okay job. The drone did keep up with me, and it didn't crash or get stuck in any of the trees, but the footage isn't really great. You can see here the drone does figure out, not to crash into the tree and go around it, but everything's bumpy and it doesn't really represent the smooth, easy walking of this trail. And here I am climbing up to get on top of the rock so I can head towards the caves. And that's the caves in the distance there. You might be able to get up from closer to the caves, but I was just following the trail and it was pretty easy and relaxing, so no rush. These caves are super cool. Look at this. I think everyone who's ever been here has carved their names into this rock though. But these are super cool. Is there anything back here? Or is this just a dead end? Just a dead end back there, and it smells a lot like piss. I guess everyone pees back there. I don't know why they can't just go right outside the cave, where it'll get washed away by the rain. Well, this part of the cave is nice, at least. I even flew the drone through the cave, but I definitely had to turn off the motion sensor because it was going crazy because the walls were so close. Also, I could only fly this drone because I was alone here. The sound it was making inside the cave just sounded like a swarm of angry bees were about to attack, so if anyone else was there, they would have been freaked out. And this is a cool shot of me just crawling through this little hole here and then having the drone pan out to sort of a broader view of the entire area. These caves are man-made when they were mining for sand in the area, and they didn't do it for very long, so that's why they're not too deep, but they definitely are really amazing to look at. I got a shot of all the entrances at the side of the cave here, and I'm just sort of piloting the drone hanging out on one of them. And this is just a straight through shot of the cave with the drone, so hopefully it's a little smoother because my drone has stabilization, whereas my phone does not. And then just a little goodbye shot of the caves here. Today's rainbow can't quite figure itself out. It's a little fat and not all the colors are there, but it's trying. As I started heading south, I began to see a bit of a landscape scenery change, and I noticed a pullout with a trailhead, so I end up doing a little bit of a hike here. But before I begin the hike, I just took the drone out and got some footage of this mountainside, I guess. I was really fascinated by the different colors and the way it looks and just how it spirals out. And I actually met another guy in the parking lot who was there also filming on a drone. He had the Mini 2 though, the one model lower than mine, but I guess we both agreed that sort of this landscape here was worth checking out. And here's just a circle around it, sped up 3 times. I like this shot even in real time, but it's probably just a little too long for this video here. I'm going to check out this Toadstool Hoodoo or Hodo, however you pronounce them. That's an easy trail, only 1 mile one way, so I don't have too much light because the sun's gone behind these clouds and it's almost night, but I should have enough time to get there and take some footage. Oh, I could just see them peeking over the ridge there. Yeah, so it's a pretty short trail. I'm already at my destination here, but you can see it's just stunning landscape all around. I really enjoyed taking the drone up here because you really get to see a lot more of the landscape than you would otherwise. And this is the whole area here. Not too many hoodoos, but the couple that they have are pretty interesting to look at. And you can see me just sitting over there chilling on a rock. Thought I'd test a few of the features of my drone here. It's got this autopilot circling mode where it raises and circles while it focuses on an object. So I set it for this little rock structure I found here and jumped around on it. I had a ton of fun flying around these toadstools here with my drone. This is probably the most fun I've had flying my drone since I've got it. You just need to find a good spot like this with like some obstacles to jump around on and weave in and out of. It's morning now, and I've just made it over here to the Wahweap Overlook, which overlooks Lake Powell in this Glen Canyon region. That's a pretty nice area. There's some stuff to see down in Glen Canyon, but I don't really have time to head down there, so I'm just going to keep going. That's the Colorado River there. I'll be checking out Horseshoe Bend. So the thing about Horseshoe Bend is it's basically just a bend in the canyon in the river, but because of some social media influencers and all that, years ago it became ultra famous. So millions of people started showing up to go to this bend. And what the city of Page did is they paved over the parking lot and put pit toilets there, and then started charging people $10 to park their vehicles. So, you know, I don't want to pay $10 just to park my vehicle there where I still have to walk a kilometer. So what you can actually do is you can park at the Walmart, which is 2 kilometers away, and just walk directly from there. There's no really official trail or anything, but as you can see, the terrain here is quite manageable, and you're just walking across flat-ish desert here. So I'll get there eventually, and then I'll avoid having to pay the fee, because the fee is actually just a parking fee, not like an entrance fee. So you can still see it for free. I'm just following these animal tracks here. I'm sure they know the way. All right, I can see the main trail almost at my destination. And here it is, Horseshoe Bend. See some people down there camping, going through the river. I'm on one of these cliff ledges here. That's a vertical drop. You can see all the tourists that this place brings in. Looks like I was the only one to actually hike in from not the parking lot. And back I go through the desert. One of these lizards here, pretty big one. Hi, buddy. So was it worth it to hike all that way through the desert on no trail to save $10? No. Is it worth it to park at the trailhead and pay the $10? Also no, I would say. I mean, it wasn't that impressive. I guess it's just the hype from social media that makes people want to go see it. But the problem here in Arizona is I've been doing my research on all the hikes, and almost everything is just way too expensive here. So, for instance, I'm passing Antelope Canyon, which I had Googled long ago and saw, and I'm sure you've seen pictures of it too. And it looks really cool, something I definitely want to check out. But then, to do it, you have to pay $120 because you need a guided tour just to go in this little slot canyon that you definitely don't need a tour to do. But because it's on Navajo land, they're going to want to get their cut and charge a bunch of money. The other thing I wanted to really do was Usvana Falls and Beaver Creek Falls. Again, that's on more native land, and these guys are even more ridiculous. They charge $100 or $120 a night to camp there, and you need to camp for 3 nights minimum. So just to see these waterfalls, you got to spend like $400 US. I get that a lot of these places become so popular that they need to start charging permit fees to maintain trails and limit capacity numbers. But $400 is just there's no need to be charging that much. That's just a pure profit business model, and it's not one I'm going to support, when I truly believe that the wilderness should be about viewing it and seeing it for free, and paying as little fees as possible just for the maintenance of the trails and the network of hiking that you can do to see these wonderful places. So right now I'm heading off to the Grand Canyon, and I do have the National Parks Pass, so I don't have to pay to get in, but I do know there's permits to do a lot of the hikes there, so I'm not sure if I'll actually end up doing hikes or just driving to lookouts or something. I'll go visit the visitor center there and check it out. But I've only got about 4 or 5 more days left on my vacation, and honestly it's becoming a chore to try and find hikes to actually do in Arizona that aren't just through the desert, that you don't have to pay to do. Alright, now that my rant about money is over and paying for things in society, I decided to launch the drone again. And here you can actually see this giant canyon, which is actually part of the Grand Canyon, but sort of further down. It's not really considered the Grand Canyon, but it's part of it. It eventually connects to it. This part here is on some native land, and you can see some sort of trails there, but I saw some signs that said no trespassing, so I wasn't going to go hiking along there or anything. As you drive along the highway, you'll see a bunch of these pullouts here where natives will be selling art and jewelry. This particular one, however, today didn't seem to be in operation, so it made a good drone launching spot. Nice scenic view right off the highway on the way to the Grand Canyon. Here it is, the GC. I guess it looks pretty grand. I'm just going to hit up all the viewpoints here. This is the visitor center area. Bright Angel Trail, the Rim Trail. So as I was driving south, I was passing through this small national forest, and I decided to send the drone up to get a better view of the area. I just thought it was cool how in Arizona you can be in the middle of the desert, and then suddenly there's this huge green lush forest. So the Grand Canyon was pretty nice to look at, but it's not really much in terms of like a hiking destination. The hikes themselves look pretty boring, just open through the canyon. I think the real thrill of this place is just like looking down into the canyon, and there's a lot of like scenic museums and stuff if you're interested in that. But for me, I'm more interested in the hikes, so I'm gonna start heading south and see what else I can get up to. That's a double rainbow. So I'm sitting here outside of this meteor crater natural monument or something. Anyways, a big meteor crashed in the past and created a massive crater. So they do tours for like $25 or $30 around the rim of the crater. I don't really care about that. What I care about is getting a drone shot of this crater. And I'm sitting here just outside the private property boundary so I can go up and get my shot. I mean, I got a really great rainbow right here, and the crater is right there. It would look awesome if I shot the drone up with a rainbow going into the crater. But it's still drizzly. I don't know if my drone can survive this or not. It is the Valley of Cacti. It's just a cool little flooded pond area with some cattle. Cool, my first up-close glimpse of this petrified wood. With the sun setting, it turned out to give out some really good lighting here to help showcase what these cacti actually look like. Look at this scenic view here, right on the side of the highway, Highway 60.